Welcome back, boys and girls. So this is the paper of IGCSE with the code 0620/42 of May-June 2022. Previously we solved two questions of the same paper. Okay, now I'm directly proceeding with the question number 3. Okay, you can see these are the papers which we already discussed and solved. Number 3, and in this question number 3 you can see transition elements are found in the middle block of the periodic table. Okay, what about the middle block? So these are in between group 3 and group 2. So you can see the elements which are in between group 2 and group 3. So examiner is saying this is the middle block and they are called as the transition elements. Then A, chromium has several isotopes. Manganese has only one isotope. Then he asked, state what is meant by the term isotopes. There are several ways to answer this question. So shortest is that elements, atoms of the same elements of the same element with same atomic number but different atomic mass. Are the isotopes. As I said, there are several ways. So you can say atoms of the same element with the same protons but different neutrons. So in either way you can define, okay, whatever is the easiest, okay, you have to use that pattern. Then he says state the nucleon number of the manganese. So this is a very simple question, just refer to the periodic table, and in the periodic table which is at the end of the same paper, I can go here, you can see at the same paper, at the end of the same paper, this is period 3, you can see this is group 3, and then this is group 2. As I said, this is group 2. So in between group 2 and group 3, let me flip, okay, you can see group 2 and group 3. In between group 2 and group 3, you can say that these are the middle block which is called as transition. And in this transition, examiner asked about manganese. So in this, what is the atomic mass? 55. What is the atomic mass? 55. So straightforward, go back and then write down the answer as 55 here. So the nucleon number of the manganese is 55. Then he says complete the table to show the number of protons, neutrons and electron, but this time he changed, and then he says that about, let me little increase its size, but okay, okay, fine. Now, so this is chromium 5224 with the charge of 3 plus. So how many protons? Atomic number is always equal to what? Protons, so which is 24. So I'm going to write this is 24. Then neutrons, to find neutrons always subtract the protons or atomic number from nucleon, which is 52 in this case, and 24 is the atomic number. When we subtract, the answer we got is, let me confirm so that we may not do some mistake, 52 minus 24, the answer we get is 28. Now electrons, as you notice that in any in any atom, the number of protons and electrons are always equal. So we can say there are 24 electrons, but you can see here 3 plus charge. this 3 plus charge indicates that 3 electrons are lost. Okay, so we can subtract 3. So when we do this, how much we got? 21. So the number of electrons we have here are 21. Very simple question. Next, one chemical property of transition elements is that they form colored compounds. Give the color of the following hydrated salts. So this question is again, I recommend, from the water chapter, okay, or water topic, and we learn how to test, or the chemical test for the water. So hydrated copper 2 sulfate is almost pale blue. Pale blue. Even you write blue, that's fine as well. Then hydrated cobalt 2 chloride is always pink. Okay, so recall the information from the testing of water, or the chemical test of the water. You can easily notice what are these, and if you don't remember, then please quickly write these in your exam notes and then try to memorize and recall when they are required. In next part, he says state 2 other chemical properties of transition elements. So one property is clearly mentioned, that they form colored compounds. So other than this property, please try to write other than this property which is colored. So we are going to write that show variable oxidation state, or have variable oxidation state. Transition elements have variable oxidation state. Next one, we can say show catalytic activity. Show catalytic activity. Understood? So please, again, this is related to the reactivity or the periodic table. The chapter we learn the periodic table and the reactivity. You can learn these from that part, and if you are not still remember that, please now make the exam notes. You notice that the transition elements have 3 chemical properties. One is the having or making colored compounds, the other one is having variable oxidation state, and the third one is showing catalytic activity. Please note it down and then try to remember and memorize properly. In C part, it says transition elements and group 1 elements are metals. They share many physical properties, including the ability to conduct electricity. So this is again the physical property. Be hammered into shapes. What we can say, whenever we are going to hammer something and it will change into different shapes, this property is called as malleable and malleability. Okay, remember that this property is called as what? Malleable or malleability. Okay, so I can say this is malleable, or you can also write is that it is, this property is called as malleability. Keep that. Again, if you don't, then please add this to your exam notes. Then explain why transition elements and group 1 elements conduct electricity. Very common question. It could be asked in almost in of every paper. Okay, so please memorize that. This is due to delocalized free electrons. Delocalized free electrons. Okay, explain why transition elements and group 1 elements conduct electricity. You can have to write it due to delocalized free electrons, or due to the availability of delocalized free electrons. Then state the property that describes a metal which can be hammered, like I clearly mentioned earlier. So you just have to copy. Okay, you just have to copy, like I am copying. So write it over here. Malleability. That property is called as malleability or malleable. Both are correct. Next, he says that transition elements and group 1 elements differ in other physical properties. Transition elements are harder and stronger than group 1. So this is one property that is given. Then he says describe two other. Please, the other is bold, mean you are not going to repeat any of the property which examiner mentioned. You have to write your own. So we can say that have low melting point, or as we are going to compare in a proper way, describe two other ways in which the physical properties of transition elements differ from group 1. So I'm going to write in a comparison way. So we can say group 1 elements, or just group 1 metals or elements, have low melting point than transition elements. The second one, have low density. Group 1 elements have low density than transition elements. Understood? So please follow. So the question third is finished here. We will continue with question 3